Welcome to another episode of the Shot Podcast. Today we have a David Mendez.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for having me. It was a horrible drive from San Antonio, but I love being here. So thank you.
Well, we could have done a Skype, but I heard that you wanted to be in the studio, so we're happy you decided to come into the studio. So the reason that you're here today
Hmm.
is because I did an interview with Michael Garcia, who has uh, basically finished a script called On American Soil. And he tells me that you are committed to the project as the director. So we want to bring you in and have you talk about yourself and talk about the project and how you feel or how you think about attacking this project. So tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, how long have you been in the film business and what got you into it?
I've been in the film industry or film business, whatever you want to call it. Not too long. I retired from Army, active Army, 2015. Since then, I went to school, and a lot of my buddies had gone there, and they explained to me some of the positions, whatever. And when I really started digging into what this director does, audio guy, a producer, I really found that the positions were really regimented. So it was kind of like the military, but a lot of what they did, to me at least, was fun. And so I wanted to learn a little bit more about it. So I went to Art Institute of San Antonio. There you go. I knew I'd eventually remember. Anyways, so I went there, started learning, started collaborating with a bunch of guys, started doing short film, whatever. A year after that, I decided to kind of stop school, go to University of Incarnate Word, but not because
Hold on,
of
back up a
film.
little bit.
Yes, sir.
You got together with a group at
Yeah.
this institute and
Hmm.
you started to make movies.
Roger.
What kind of movies were you making?
Originally, we started with short films, but then, well, the shirt I'm wearing, which is weird, I should have mentioned that. The the first feature I worked on, which was a collab with a bunch of guys that we just wanted to do film. We said, we know a lot of guys from the lowrider scene. We know we have cameras. We know people here. So we decided to make Lowriders versus Zombies from space. It was
Wow.
kind of like a B movie, so it wasn't really a serious movie. We didn't take it serious. We didn't take anything
No
that
budget?
low, like $50 to start off with, and people just started pitching in, and mainly was for food. And then like somebody we knew somebody who did stunts. They're like, oh dude, I'd love to do that. So they would jump in and they're like, oh man, I have this stuff and I have crash pads. So nothing really costed us. The only thing that really at the end of the day did was one location. That was the VFW. And the only reason we ended up paying for the VFW is because we actually closed it down. But at the end,
Damn.
because so
What
many,
did that cost you?
maybe about $200-300.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, we still ended up using a lot of the old veterans that came there because, I mean, they've been going there for years and years and years. And to tell an old veteran is like, dude, you can't come here and drink, is like, you're going to start a riot. So they all ended up staying there and kind of being the backgrounds.
Nice.
So we gained backgrounds that way. Anyways, we did that really, really low budget.
How long is the
Um,
movie?
it's 58 minutes,
Oh,
57,
wow.
58 minutes long. So, according to the Academy, it's just enough to call it a feature. But even though, well, when we entered into a lot of film festivals, they considered it a long short because it wasn't over an hour. It was right under. But anyway, we got really, really good reception with that.
It's like a short feature, if there's any
Yeah,
such
short
thing.
feature. And so with that, I mean, like I said, we didn't take ourselves serious. Everything that everybody tells you you're gonna mess up, we messed up. We messed up
That's how you
planning.
learn, right? When
Yeah,
you're first starting out.
and in a way for us, it was our way to get our feet wet and let everybody not know that we were there. I mean, a lot of people do shorts, but they don't proceed push past those shorts because they get comfortable. We're like, well, we want to challenge ourselves because again, we want to do feature films. We want to put ourselves out there. We're serious about it, and we're like, what better way than to do a crash course?
So what were you
And
doing on that first feature? What was your role?
I was a writer director on that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right out the door, you just the
Well, no,
dictator, huh?
well, no, not really. Well, again,
You know, they say
military.
director is the last form of dictatorship.
Is it?
Yeah.
Man, that doesn't say much for me in my army career. And I think the only reason I fell into the director spot again because coming out of the military, I was still fresh, military minded, so I was always mission first.
For me, that's what a leader is, right? A leader is an individual who
Mm-hmm.
can look at a situation, identify the problem, and come up with a solution.
Yeah, get it
And
done.
then once you come up with the solution, and a really great leader will set the example, and then everybody follows. That for me is the definition of what a leader is. And it
Right.
sounds to me like that's what you're telling me you are.
Well, I wouldn't say I am. It's more of the fact that I've been doing it so long; it's almost second nature, and I think that's, to me, that I don't put label on myself, and I don't like labeling, but it's more of the fact that I've been doing it. So, I mean, it's already ingrained in me. And a lot of people are like, well, you say Roger a lot, or you say this and that. Um, yeah, 20 years of programming. It's kind of hard to get rid of.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But
So you did this first feature, and
yeah.
then what? You guys did a few more.
After that, yeah, we did a couple more shorts. Then I kind of got some funding available, and I decided to say, you know what, the time's right with everything. I look at more of the what's going on, and like right now, wrestling is really really hot, and so I decided to do another feature that I had been working on, which is called Sacred Mask, and that one was a wrestling film or a lucha wrestling film.
I remember watching Mi Macara when
Yeah,
I was a kid. That was like
yep,
that was pretty awesome.
and
Those
again,
those movies.
a lot of us growing up watched those movies with Santos, Blue Demon,
Yes.
Mil Máscaras,
Yeah.
a lot of other great guys, and most of them are kind of getting to that age where their sons and juniors are all taking over. So it's different. So all that era is gone, but the movies are still around and they're classic. So I took on another challenge to kind of try to revitalize that style of film, but make it a little bit more Americanized. So a lot of what we do, at least in Sacred Mask, is bilingual, which I've kind of gotten taken a hit for it on our last film when we did that. There was people like, well, why can't you just do it in one language or whatever? And I was like, well, one, it's filmed in Texas. Two, I'm Hispanic, and three, I really love the fact that I'm celebrating my culture, and by me putting it in the film, I'm concreting my culture to film. And film, they've said it's timeless, and it really is. Because like right now, our first feature actually lives somewhere on the internet. It's been seen in Europe. It's been seen, it actually has been bootlegged, Central Asia, Japan, and whatnot. So that's one of the things that I loved, and I think because we've celebrated, at least in the last two features, we've celebrated that culture, of being bilingual, being Hispanic, being from Texas, and just being who we are rather than kind of shunning away from it. I think that was one of the biggest reasons why me and Michael kind of kicked it off, with his film and the idea of his, being a migratory story, and it's told, it has to be told from somebody who comes from that, somebody who understands that culture, that background. Because no offense to anybody, you can't take somebody who's never gone through it or somebody whose culture is not that and kind of try to make a movie. It's I don't know. I think that's one of the biggest fails of Hollywood, that they kind of not turned a lot of the movies white or anything, because it's not. It's more of that they've tried to make it for everybody, and because you try to make it for everybody and be inclusive, you kind of exclude that one culture you're trying to celebrate. For example, and I love this, and this is one of the biggest things that why, and the reason why I think this film, that Michael brought me in horror, you celebrated a lot of the ideas and stuff that most people aren't willing to attack. What's her name? Gigi Guerrero, she's a Mexican Canadian director. She just finished her film called Culture Shock, and it deals with the same thing, but it's a horror flick. So it's kind of weird that a horror genre is attacking, an immigrant story. So you know what I mean.
It's
So for
yes.
that being attacked, I was like, man, dude, it's hot. It's real. So just kind of like what we did with Sacred Mask, it's one of, if it's a hot item, it's a hot ticket that everybody's paying attention to. You should do a movie and you should focus on that, because it needs to be. You know what I mean? So I guess that's coming full circle to what you had asked me earlier, how I was bringing in or how I wanted to attack the film or what I thought I was bringing into the film. That's pretty much kind of like my long-winded answer for you. On
It is pretty long-winded.
Sorry about that.
Okay, and now talk to me about how you met Michael. How did you guys come in contact with each other?
We were casting for the father of one of the main actresses in our film, Sacred Mask. And I needed an older gentleman, very distinct. He needed to sound Hispanic, but not really, he needed to have a presence. So when I saw one of his posts that he had put on Facebook, whatnot, I liked his look. I liked his voice. I told my casting director, I'm like, hey, you know what? We need to get him on board. So once he was on board, he sent me his audition tape. I was like, dude, that's him. That's him. That I have to have him. So we brought him on board. I started talking to him. We were on set, and I really, really got to know him, and I got to know him as a person. And he started explaining to me the idea of his film, and I was like, dude, I love it, And he's like, well, let's talk a little bit more. And it kind of almost seemed to progress as we filmed, not only through my film, but also the idea of him and I working together past that film. So the last day of shooting, he's like, hey, dude, I got an idea. Would you be interested in directing my film? And I'm like, oh, dude, it's hard because I'm having to direct somebody else's idea, somebody else's
Oh, you've never done that.
baby. No, I've never done
This
that.
will be your first time, huh?
Yeah, and it's hard because I mean it's his dream, it's his idea. He lives, breathes on American soil. That's his puppy. I mean, that's his little redheaded stepchild. So for me to step in and be like, hey, dude, I think this is the way we should film it, or I think it's hard because you have to meet him in the middle.
Yeah, like how does that work? Are you trying to capture his vision, or are you bringing your vision to his script?
A little bit of both. I have to honor his vision because again, he's in it. So that's even harder because he is in it. So he's gonna kind of steer the film anyways in his idea what he wanted, but at the same time because I'm directing it, I have to kind of push that aside and be like, you know what? I think this is the way I would do it because again, he brought me on board with the idea that I have that background. So at the same time, being a collaborative issue or collaborative um, set, we're gonna have to kind of work towards that. But at the same time, it's more of me kind of adjusting to his idea, but still honoring the fact that I'm the director.